You are listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. I help female perfectionists beat self-sabotage and lose the weight for good using the Fit Figure Formula coaching program. I'm your host, Stephanie Riles, registered dietitian, personal trainer, and mindset transformation coach. If you've been struggling with all or nothing thinking, negative self-talk, or self-sabotage, this is the podcast for you. Learn how to get consistent and become the best version of yourself from the inside out. So let's get started. Hey ladies, it's Coach Steph. I'm going to be talking about how to reduce your cravings without using more willpower. So I go live inside of my Facebook group every week. It's called Weight Loss for Perfectionists. I host the Fit Figure Formula podcast. And I also have a coaching program called the Fit Figure Formula, where I help female perfectionists to beat self-sabotage and lose the weight for good. And the Fit Figure Formula is open for enrollment right now. I'm a registered dietitian, mindset coach, personal trainer, and inside of the Fit Figure Formula, I help you to build a lifestyle. I help you to understand your food so that when you graduate from the Fit Figure Formula, you actually understand how to put together a plan for yourself, how to navigate vacations and cravings and dating and mindset and when you fall off and motivation and consistency and all of those things throughout the year that might, cause you to fall off. I want you to be able to live the lifestyle and live in the body that you want to live in, right? Again, today's topic is going to be how to reduce your cravings without using more willpower. So I'm going to be talking about sugar cravings and what you can do strategically, but then also mindset wise as well. Here's the thing. Willpower is going to fail. If you think that you are going to build a lifestyle on your willpower of reducing sugar, snacking, whatever your temptation food is, that is not going to work. I'm just going to save you the trouble now. I'm going to save you a lot of time. It's not going to work. We really need to be setting up our environment, understanding our emotions, building better habits. That is going to help you long term, more so than willpower. Willpower is going to fail. Cravings are actually data. I want you to think about it like a signal. If you're having cravings, I want you to ask yourself some fundamental questions. Number one, what time of day are you mostly having these cravings? So maybe just keep a diary. Like when you start to really notice that I'm so hungry, and your brain starts to try and find like high fat, high sugar foods, think about what time of day that is. For a lot of my clients, it's usually in the evening. And I just want you to start noticing when you have that craving. Number two, you can ask yourself, what are you usually feeling? Are you feeling stressed? Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling like you need a break? You need relief? You just want to kind of zone out and just like get a mental break? How are you feeling during those times? 3, what did you eat earlier in the day? Sometimes we build this self-concept of I'm an emotional eater when really you're really just hungry. Like you don't eat enough. So what did you eat earlier in the day? Have you not eaten past like 4 or 5 hours? When's the last time you ate? And then ask yourself, what do you need more of? Really checking in with yourself and asking, what do I really need right now? Am I really hungry? Or am I just bored? Or am I just, coming and sitting on my favorite chair and right here is like a candy bowl and it's just a habit for me to grab the candy out of the candy bowl because I sit in this particular spot, right? So thinking about your environment, your habits, your mental and emotional state, and then also just biologically, like if you are under eating, if you're not sleeping well, or if your blood sugar is all over the place because you have inconsistent patterns, that's probably going to make you more hungry as well. So let's kind of break some of these down. If y'all have not either listened to or read the book Atomic Habits, highly recommend that book. That was one of the very first books that I started reading when I got into self-development, but it can really help ground you in some practices because we can't have the all or nothing mentality. We have to look at it as like baby steps, small, tangible things that we can do each day to build better habits. Okay. Number one, willpower is going to fail. Number two, I just gave you some questions to ask yourself, which are, what time of day do I normally have these cravings? What am I usually feeling? What did I eat earlier in the day? And then what do I actually need right now? So that awareness is going to give you a lot of information. I want you to look at your cravings as data. Look at your cravings as information. What is this trying to tell me right now? Do I just need to eat? Am I just bored? Etc. So we get into this trap because a lot of the clients that I coach, they come in and they'd have no regular schedule of eating. They just eat whenever they can. I coach a lot of busy women who have demanding jobs and they may not actually schedule a lunch, right? So they're rushing in the morning, only getting coffee or Starbucks on the way to work. They're working hard and they don't schedule a lunch. I had a client who was a therapist and she might eat lunch if she had a client cancel. And I'm like, oh, you're not even having the intention of creating a meal. Like you're not even planning to eat. You're just sticking eating in if you have a cancellation. And then by dinner, you're starving and you think, oh my God, I have all these cravings. No, you're just not eating enough throughout the day. So we really have to make eating a priority, first of all, actually plan to eat, and then plan what to eat and practice eating on regular intervals. And I know that making those decisions about what time to eat and what to eat can feel overwhelming if you're trying to do it all at once. And this is one of the reasons why inside the formula, I start off with breakfast first. Then the next week we go to breakfast and lunch. Then the next week, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks before we even get to like macro numbers or anything. And this is because I know it takes work. It takes energy to decide and to plan. But if you build a system in the long run, that lends itself to less decisions that you have to make because you've built a system for yourself. So we don't want to get trapped in having to make a decision and starting from scratch every single day and every single meal. Because what's going to happen is your health journey, your food, your eating, your lunchtime is going to get put on the back burner if you keep having to start from scratch every single time. I can guarantee you. If you're not already health focused and you're not already prioritizing time to feed yourself, it's just the easiest thing to be like, okay, I'll just do that later. And it's just a cycle that we have to break by creating some structure for yourself. And you can implement that with flexibility. Won't be perfect. But in the formula, I help you map that out. Like, when am I going to be eating? Set that intention. And then all the other things fill in around your health habits. So if you are under eating, you might have more cravings. If you are not sleeping well, 7 to 9 hours of sleep at night. If you're having trouble sleeping, a lot of my clients are 40 plus. I'll be 42 this year too. And luckily, I can sleep, y'all. My sleep is great. But I know a lot of my clients who struggle with either getting to sleep or staying asleep. There's a few environmental things that you can do where you're actually setting a bedtime, because a lot of us don't actually have a bedtime. We just fall asleep after we get tired of scrolling through TikTok. But actually setting a bedtime, cutting off the lights, getting that phone out of your face, because that light is keeping you up and messing with your rhythm, putting your phone away, setting the environment for good sleep. Girl, put that fan on. Okay. Whatever you got to do, just make sure you're setting that intention. You're winding down and you're practicing going to sleep at a certain time. That environmental stuff can help. Journaling. If you're a person who has a lot of anxiety and you are thinking about what you need to do and what's coming up and all of those things, brain dumping, and just have like a little journal right by your bed and just like all the things that are coming up, like, oh, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. Just write all of that down. And so if you write it down, then it kind of like gets out, like helps that energy to kind of flow through you onto the paper. It's like, okay, I'm not going to forget this. It's on the paper. Now I can go to sleep. But develop a ritual for yourself for your sleep. That can be really helpful. Also, a lot of my clients will take melatonin or magnesium glycinate. to help them go to sleep. And this is super helpful because if you're having trouble going to sleep or getting to sleep, those two things have been very popular, very effective in helping you to actually get to sleep and stay asleep. So try it. Check with your doctor first, but you can definitely give that a try if you're having trouble going to sleep, because when you don't get enough sleep, you actually start to crave more sugar. You also, if you're doing like a fitness, if you're working out, you're lifting weights, if you're not getting enough sleep, you're actually cutting the time that you need to be repairing and building your muscle in your sleep, and you're not like getting that benefit of your workout. So it's really important that you prioritize getting sleep. And then your blood sugar. So when we eat carbohydrates, our blood sugar is going to rise. Like, that is not a bad thing. That's what it's supposed to do. It's going to go up a little bit. But when we have sharp rises or a spike in your blood sugar, and then we don't eat for a while, we might work out or do walking, and we have like these peaks and valleys that are dramatic in our blood sugar, it can cause more cravings. So there are going to be fluctuations in your blood sugar. That's just our human body. But we want those blood sugar levels to be hills and not mountains. Okay. And so when you skip lunch and you barely had any breakfast, at dinner, you're going to be really hungry. And then you may not have planned. So you may not have picked the best options in terms of quality of food. And your blood sugar is just all over the place. So I like to have my clients start out with a good breakfast. We have a protein, a fiber-filled carb, and a fat. And having all three of those is going to help your blood sugar level out, is going to help stop cravings, is going to help you not overeat, especially when I've had clients before who were like, they were going to go out to eat, like at a restaurant or something like that. And they just didn't eat all day because like, oh, I don't want to eat and go to the restaurant. And I don't think that that's a good strategy, because you end up being really, really hungry. So then when they bring the biscuits or they bring the rolls, right, you are eating the appetizer, the drinks, the entree, the dessert, and you have overstuffed yourself. And you thought that you were trying to save calories by not eating all day, when you just like really overdid it all at one time versus like spreading it out. And I just think that that's like not the best way to go about it. So we want to keep our blood sugars pretty stable and not have high highs and low lows. Okay. So under eating, poor sleep, managing your blood sugar, all of those are biological or physiological things that are going to be impacting how hungry you're feeling, the cravings that you're feeling. Okay. And then our mental and emotional. A lot of times we're just bored. Number one, we haven't planned our food. And so when we find that we're bored or just like unfulfilled in life, or sad or lonely or something, stress, right? We tend to just eat. I'm like, okay, this is something that will make me feel good, or we're just being mindless about it. You might not be thinking like, oh, I really want this because it's going to make me feel better, but it's kind of like a reward for having a hard week. Or, I've been doing good all this time and now I need some kind of reward. And that lends itself to us feeling like we are giving in or using food as a soothing coping mechanism. And like I've said before, I want you guys to love your food, and I want you to eat strategically. If you're on a weight loss journey, you have to eat on purpose. Like, you have to eat with a plan. You're eating with a strategy. You're not just going by what your taste buds wants to eat right now. And so we really have to be aware and checking in with ourselves, have that emotional awareness, because even if I gave you the best meal plan, that doesn't help you with boredom eating. That doesn't help you with stress eating. And then you're trying to use willpower or discipline to avoid eating or succumbing to your cravings. And it's not quite that simple. Like I said, that biological factor, not getting enough sleep, skipping breakfast, your blood sugars being all over the place. Plus now I'm emotional. Now I'm also stressed, right? And then over time, that decision fatigue is going to make it harder and harder for you to make the choice that you want, which is why you need a system, right? Then we also have our environmental triggers. So this could be, I come through the door, put my stuff down from work, I sit down in my favorite chair, and again, there's like that bowl of candy. Or, you know, you and your family are having movie night. This is what me and my kids do. Like, okay, movie night. It's like, okay, popcorn, duh, right? And so we get this big thing of popcorn and you could just eat, right? We're eating out of a big bowl. So if you don't package up or like portion out your snacks, you're probably way overdoing it. Because if you're eating out of the carton of ice cream or the bag of chips, you tend to eat way more because our brain wants to finish the entire thing. So that's one simple thing that you can do instead of like eating out of the carton of ice cream or the big bag, portion it out into a bowl. And a lot of times once you finish, you feel satisfied. That's one of my clients' favorite hacks when they go out to eat. This is something that I do too, because I feel like I'm sure I was overeating, but when I was younger, I was also burning a lot of calories as like a college athlete. But I could eat, y'all. I could eat. And at one point I was eating so much. Now this was after college. After college, I was living in Austin. And I would go out with my friend to go eat, and we would like eat really, really good food. I would eat so much that my back would start hurting, and I'd have to go and like lay down in my car and like lean my seat back because my back was just like hurting because I just ate way too much. So when you go out to eat, put half of your food in a to-go container immediately. Like right when they bring you the container, put half of it in the to-go container. This is going to save you so many calories. It's going to help you feel a lot more just satisfied versus overly stuffed. So that's just like an environmental hack, right? Just having it a little bit more inconvenient to overeat. Prepping your food is another environmental thing, or just like having your water bottle. I drink way more water when I have my water bottle with me. Visual cueing. Visual cueing is super important. That having my water bottle right here, or opening up your refrigerator and seeing the ice cream. First thing that you see when you open up the freezer, that's a visual cue. You want to make the things that are not going to help you with your goals less accessible, less visible, and the things that are going to help you with your goals more visible. Okay, so that visual cueing is very important. I do have my clients do a detox of sorts when we first start of their kitchen, pantry, refrigerator, freezer. But then I also know that like, yeah, we'll have ice cream sometimes, but just put it at the bottom, put it out of immediate visual sight. And that can really, really be helpful. If you have Oreos on your counter, you're probably going to eat more Oreos. If you have an apple there, you're probably going to eat more apples. Okay. And then we have to think about our rituals and routines that are tied to food, end of the day, watching TV, family gatherings, right? When's the last time you got together with your family and y'all went on a walk instead of just, stuffed your face and sat down and watched TV? Think about what new rituals for your family that you can start. One thing that we used to do, this was more so like in COVID times, was after dinner, go for a walk. Weather's starting to get nice in most places, and that would be a great routine and ritual to do. And that's going to help with your blood sugar. So whenever you eat, like I said, your blood sugar is going to rise a little bit. But when you exercise, you're utilizing that glucose in your blood, and exercise brings your blood sugar down. So if you are going to have a meal, especially if you know that meal is going to be more like higher in carbohydrates, you might want to plan a walk or a workout before or after that meal. That's really helpful. So we really want to make sure that we have a good foundation, because you might think I'm addicted to sugar, but really you're not eating enough protein. You're not eating enough total calories. You're probably not adding healthy fat like you need to be. Okay. So a lot of my clients need around 30 grams of protein per meal and snack to hit their protein goals. 30 grams. So your 2 eggs in the morning is not doing it. that's only 12 grams. That's like less than half of what you actually need. So you may need to be eating more food. And this is what I teach in the formula is my clients are eating more single ingredient whole foods. And a lot of them are just like, oh my God, how am I going to eat all this food? And they don't have any cravings because they're eating single ingredient whole foods that have healthy fat and protein. Their blood sugar is balanced because we're not going past like 4 hours without eating. They are getting enough fiber because we're intentionally picking the carbohydrates that have 3 grams of fiber or more per serving. So if you are picking a carbohydrate, this is again another tip for like balancing blood sugar, helping with cravings. You don't have to cut out all carbs, y'all. You can pick carbohydrates that have 3 grams of fiber or more on the label. So these are things like if you want to have bread or pasta or English muffins, waffles, you want to look for 3 grams of fiber or more on the label. Bonus if it has extra protein. So there's like this plant-powered protein tortilla that my clients like to switch to, and it has like 15 grams of fiber and some added protein. So if you can find a carbohydrate that has at least 3 grams of fiber or more plus protein, bomb. That's exactly what we want. That's going to help you balance your blood sugars, decrease your sugar cravings, help you feel more satisfied for longer, especially if you're pairing that with at least around 30 grams of protein. You're going to feel very satisfied. Okay. I just had a client who first of all, I love my clients. Okay. This is an older Black woman. She's kind of like an auntie. She gives me very much auntie vibes, even like somebody that's my auntie. For example, I'm 42, so I can be somebody's auntie. But she is probably maybe in her 60s. I don't know. But so she was real skeptical. She was just like, I don't know. I think I'm eating too many carbs. You got me eating these carbs. And I'm just like, okay, just follow the process, like trust the process. So she had her blood sugars checked right before we started. And it was like her A1C was 5.7 and she was going to have it again. And she was nervous because she was like, you got me eating all this. Da, 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 da. I'm like, okay, let's just see. And then she checked it and she messaged me and she was like, oh, it's 5.3. I said, yeah, I feel so vindicated because she thought she was overdoing it and overeating. And I think it's just like our mentality from diet culture of like, don't eat sugar, don't eat carbs, don't eat bread. But when you do balance that out with fiber, you balance it out with healthy fat and protein, you can actually have it. And her A1C went down and she's actually eating more carbs than she was before because we're eating and picking the right carbs. Go figure. Okay. So just to kind of recap, we need to be eating enough. We want to balance our blood sugar. We want to prioritize sleep, right? And I don't think I said stress management, but stress management also very, very important for your cortisol levels and also just your ability, like your gut's ability to actually process your food. You may not realize it, but when you get stressed, it affects your intestines. And our gut is called our second brain just because it has so many nerve endings. So imagine your nervous system is dysregulated because you're nervous, you're anxious, you're scared, you're stressed, whatever it is. And that is affecting how your intestines are engaging with the food that you're eating. So that stress management is really important for like literally the physiological effects of our gut. So prioritizing sleep and stress management, very important. Also, emotional awareness, giving yourself time to process your emotions without eating through them, right? Naming the emotion behind the craving, using tools like breath work and body scans and walking and journaling to really help you process your emotions so that you just don't eat them to try to forget about them. And that's why I love my program. That's why I love the Fit Figure formula, because we are working on your inner self, your inner mind, how you feel, being able to recognize and name your emotions and really have a better relationship with yourself so that you're not manipulating food to make yourself feel better. And that's going to change your life, really. With outside of like health benefits, that is really going to change your life and your relationships. And then also changing your environment, right? Not just your mindset, but also your environment. Making healthy choices the default instead of just making that a chore or punishment. Eating healthy or moving your body is not punishment, right? It's your choice. I'm getting to choose to do this. Managing your visual cues and making sure that you are the CEO. I always talk about you're the CEO. You're the one that gets to make the decisions. And so watch your language. I was actually coaching a client today and she was like, oh, my job is doing like a walking challenge or whatever. And hopefully I'll be able to continue that after the challenge is over. And I'm like, why are we hoping? Like, why would you hope that you'll continue? You get to decide if you continue. So make decisions. Like, don't wait to see if something might derail the plan for you to continue working on your health journey. Just decide. A lot of times, if you just decide, all the other stuff will fill in around that. But if you're avoiding deciding because something might change, the time is going to get taken up by something else. And then you'll feel like I don't have time, but you do have the time. It's just being taken up by something else. So claim your time. If y'all follow, I think it's Dave Ramsey. I think this is his philosophy. Every dollar, like whenever he's doing the budgeting, is like you're assigning every dollar to do a certain job. And so I want you to think about your time in that way too. Look at your time and you're assigning every hour to do a certain task for a specific purpose versus waiting to make a decision about when you're going to work out or when you're going to prep or when you're going to plan what you're going to do because something might come up. Of course, yeah, it's going to come up because you didn't decide what you're going to do with that hour. Does that make sense? So the Fit Figure formula is open. I want to help you. I want to help you feel better. I want to help you manage your nutrition, change your lifestyle. You can do this. I don't care if you've been doing Weight Watchers or keto and you tried all this stuff and didn't work. I guarantee you that you have not worked on your health journey and your weight loss journey like I teach it in the Fit Figure formula. And you can book a no pressure call today and we can talk more about if it's the right fit. So if you're interested, you can go to the link in my bio or it should be pinned if you're watching on Facebook and book a call. You'll get a one-on-one call with me. I can talk to you more about how I help my clients, but really the call is so that I can get to know you better and know what like the root of the issue might be, and then make sure that it's a good fit for what I help my clients with. So if you want to feel better, if you want to have more energy, if you want to lose weight, if you want to tone, if you want to feel more confident in your clothes, if you want to feel more clarity with your nutrition and your body, you should join the Fit Figure formula. I was just talking to a client the other day. I've had some great conversations with my clients this week, y'all. And she was talking about how much fear she had with food because I think she had been on like Manjaro or something. And she was scared to gain the weight back. And so she was scared to eat. And so what we're doing, we're having to do a reverse diet, which is not a bad thing. It's actually good. We're trying to increase her calories so she has more capacity instead of just eating 800 calories every day. And because she's learning about her food, now when she eats, she has so much more clarity, and that clarity with her numbers is helping her to feel more freedom with food instead of feeling like I'm scared to eat. I messed up because I had a cookie. She can see clearly, oh, I can put the cookie in. I can see my macros. I see my numbers. I'm good. I can still hit my numbers and have this ice cream. And that has given her so much more freedom. And like she literally shed tears around the fact that, when you feel uncertain about what you're eating, it can cause a lot of fear. And that causes a lot of like restriction and feeling like, oh, I can't have this. I can't have carbs. I can't have sugar. I can't have this. And that just fuels more fear. Uncertainty fuels more fear. And when you actually understand your food, you're getting more clarity. That fear starts to go away. And that is actually changing her entire life because now she trusts her body, she trusts her food, and she's finding more food freedom. And that feels really good to be able to go out to eat and be like, you know what? I have my own back. I understand my food and I know how to either get back on track or stay on track even if I'm eating out. So it's going to give you so much more clarity with your blood sugars, your weight loss, understanding your protein goals and things like that. So I would love to help you inside the formula. When you graduate from my program, you're not going to be confused about your nutrition. That same lady that I was just referring to has done Weight Watchers for a long time. And so when you do Weight Watchers, apparently you like count points, and it's like the food is points. But if you're not doing Weight Watchers, you still don't understand your food and how much you're actually eating, how many grams of protein you actually need. Like, you still don't understand your food. You're just counting points. So this is like a life skill that literally needs to be taught in schools. I don't understand why we graduate without knowing how to do this. And even as a dietitian, I graduated without knowing how to do this. Do you know that I literally, since I've started my business, have gotten really good at macros? In school, as a dietitian, we learn more about the science-based principles around your body and, cancer nutrition, diabetes nutrition, bodily processes. And all of that is helpful. Obviously, I'm using that still. But as far as the practicality of building a plan, very little knowledge in that. And I have a degree in nutrition. So that was really crazy for me. So I'm teaching this basic skill that as an adult, we all need to know. Whether or not you're on a weight loss journey or not, really, you need to understand your food a little bit better. But especially if you've been struggling in this area and it's affecting your confidence and how you're fitting in your clothes, if you're avoiding the mirror, if you're wearing baggy things, if you're not writing that book or taking that speaking position because you don't like the way that you look and you're waiting for things to change before you live your life for real, we got to change that. Okay. So if you want help making that a reality from the inside out, then you should join me. I would love to help you. I'm a registered dietitian, personal trainer, mindset transformation coach. If this was helpful, share this or at least give me a reaction or something. All right. If y'all have questions, let me know. I'm going to end this, and thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. If you're new here and you're struggling with your fitness journey, I invite you to take a super simple next step. Click the link in the show notes for a free training. If listening to this podcast has been helpful, imagine being inside the Formula Coaching Program. You can apply for coaching with the link in the show notes. I hope to see you inside.